I am 94 years old. I have buried my wife. I have buried two of my closest friends. I watched my brother take his last breath in a hospital room that smelled like bleach and regret.
And if I could go back, if God gave me just one more chance to sit across from my younger self, I wouldn't change what happened to me. I wouldn't change the losses. I would change what I did to myself, the words I chose not to say, the life I chose not to live because I was too afraid, too proud, or too blind to see what was right in front of me. This is not advice. This is a confession from a man who was almost run out of time. If you are in your 20s, your 30s, maybe even your 40s, you probably think you have time. You look at your face in the mirror and you see smooth skin, strong hands, bright eyes. You think there will always be another tomorrow, another chance to say what you've been meaning to say. Another morning to finally start living the life you keep putting off. I thought that too. I thought it when I was 25. I thought it when I was 40. I even thought it when I was 60. 60 years old and still telling myself there's time. I was wrong, and I am telling you this because nobody told me. Nobody sat me down and said the one thing I needed to hear. The clock does not wait for you to be ready. It does not care about your plans or your excuses. It just keeps moving. And one day you look up and decades have passed like minutes. You are not as young as you think, but you are not as old as you fear. Right now, today, you are in the perfect place to change everything, but only if you choose to listen. When I was 32 years old, I had a chance to open a small carpentry shop. Always good with my hands, always had been. My father built furniture. His father before him did the same. It was in my blood. It was the only thing that ever made me feel truly alive. But my wife's family had other ideas. They wanted me in an office, a respectable job, they called it. A man in a tie behind a desk. A man who looked successful on the outside, even if he was slowly dying on the inside. And I listened because I wanted to be liked, because I was terrified of what people would say if I walked away from the safe life to build chairs in a dusty little shop. So I spent 31 years behind a desk I hated, doing work that meant nothing to me, and every single evening driving home, I would pass that empty lot where my shop could have been, and I would feel something crack inside my chest. You want to know what happened to those people whose opinions I cared so much about. Most of them are gone now. They don't remember what I did for a living. They never cared in the first place. But I remember every single day what I gave up. The opinions of others are the most expensive thing you will ever pay for, and you pay with years, not money. My wife's name was Eleanor. She had this way of laughing that could fill a whole room. Even when things were bad, even when we had nothing, she could find something to laugh about. She was the kind of woman who made you feel like the world wasn't as cruel as it seemed. We were married for 57 years. And you know what haunts me more than anything in my 94 years on this earth? I never told her she was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not once. Not with those exact words. I showed up. I paid the bills. I stayed faithful. And I thought that was enough. I thought love was something you proved with actions, not words. But I was wrong. The week before Eleanor died, she was lying in a hospital bed, thin as paper. And she squeezed my hand, looked up at me with those sane brown eyes I fell in love with in 1951, and she whispered, "Did I make you happy?" 57 years together, and she still wasn't sure. That question destroyed me, because the answer was yes, 1,000 times yes. She was my whole world, but I never said it loud enough. And now I say it to an empty chair every morning at breakfast. Don't let the people you love die wondering. Say it today. Say it right now, because one day, one of you will not be there anymore, and the silence will be deafening. I had a brother. His name was Arthur. Growing up, we were inseparable. We shared a bedroom until I was 16. We built a treehouse in the backyard that barely survived one winter, but felt like a castle to us. He was my best friend before I even knew what that word meant. In 1978, our father passed away and left us a small piece of land. We both wanted it. One argument turned into two. Two turned into silence, and that silence lasted 23 years. I missed his children growing up. I missed his 50th birthday. I missed his retirement. 23 years of a man's life gone because I was too proud to say three simple words: I am sorry. Arthur died in 2001. Heart attack. Gone in minutes, I found out from a neighbor. Not his wife, not his children. I stood at his grave, a 67-year-old man crying like a child. Because I didn't lose my brother in 78, I threw him away over a piece of dirt I don't even own anymore. Anger feels powerful when you're young. It feels like armor, but it's not. It's a cage, and by the time you realize you're locked inside, the people you shut out may already be gone. Forgive quickly, even if they don't deserve it, because the weight of that grudge does not punish them, it buries you.
At 94, I can tell you something most young people do not want to hear. Your body keeps a record of everything. Every cigarette I smoked in my 30s, every night I worked until midnight because I thought sleep was for lazy people. Every meal I skipped or replaced with something out of a can because I was too busy being important. My body remembers all of it. I can barely walk to my mailbox now. My hands shake when I try to hold a cup of tea. And I think about all those mornings when I was young and strong, mornings when I could have gone for a walk, could have eaten something green, could have simply been kind to this body. You do not notice the damage when you are young. You feel invincible. And one day, it will hand you the bill. And by then, it will be too late to negotiate. Take care of yourself now, not tomorrow, now. Because the body you neglect in your 30s is the prison you live in at 90. So if I could live it all again, here is what I would do. I would say, I love you every single morning. Even when I was angry, especially when I was angry, I would build that carpentry shop and let the world think whatever it wanted. I would call my brother the day after our fight, not 23 years later, the very next day. I would stop lying awake, worrying about a future that never came, and start being present in a life that was happening right in front of me. I would walk in the rain instead of watching it through a window. I would dance with Eleanor in the kitchen, even when there was no music. I would stop performing my life for an audience that was never really watching, and I would start living it for the only person who truly mattered. I am 94 years old, and I am running out of sunsets. There are more days behind me now than ahead, and that is not something I say with sadness. It is simply the truth. The kind of truth you only understand when you have lived long enough to feel the weight of every day you wasted. But you still have time. You still have a phone call you can make tonight, a door you can walk through, words you have been holding inside your chest that are begging to be let out. So do not wait until you are my age to understand this. Do not wait until your hands shake and the people you loved are nothing more than photographs on a shelf, because the saddest thing in life is not death. We all know death is coming. The saddest thing is looking back and realizing you were alive the whole time. You had every chance, every moment, every beautiful ordinary day, and you forgot to live. You forgot to say the words. You forgot to chase the dream. You forgot to forgive. You forgot that this, right here, right now, was the life you were waiting for. Don't forget anymore. If this reached you today, maybe it was supposed to. Maybe this old man's voice is the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Subscribe to this channel, because next time, the lesson might be the one that changes your life forever.